In the endless stretch of the Russian taiga, where the ancient forests whisper with the wind and rivers carve deep veins into the wilderness, an unseen tragedy unfolds year after year. Brown bear cubs, fragile and vulnerable, are torn from the warmth of their mothers. Trophy hunters, seeking glory and profit, leave behind a trail of devastation. A mother slain means not only her death, but the near certain demise of her cubs. Alone, disoriented, and helpless, most do not survive more than a few weeks. Yet, amidst this shadowed reality, there rises a faint light of hope. In an isolated corner of the taiga, a family of biologists has chosen to resist despair. They dedicate their lives to nurturing the abandoned cubs, raising them in silence, away from the corruption of human contact. Their mission is bold, almost impossible: to return the young bears to the wild, restoring what has been stolen from them. This is the story of resilience, sacrifice, and the eternal fight to protect life. It is the journey of those who have given everything to change the destiny of an entire species. The orphans of trophy hunting. The world of trophy hunting is brutal in its indifference. A single shot echoes in the forest, and a life is taken. But beyond that life, a cascade of suffering begins. For each mother bear killed, her cubs become unintended casualties. They wander aimlessly through the undergrowth, crying out for the one presence they cannot replace. Hunger gnaws at them, predators circle, and the cold nights of the taiga become unbearable. Nature, in its raw balance, is unforgiving to the young without guidance. A bear cub relies on its mother not only for food, but for learning the subtle knowledge of survival: how to forage, when to climb, where to find shelter. Without this education, the wilderness becomes a labyrinth of danger. For thousands each year, orphanhood is a death sentence. But for a small number, fate offers a different path. Rescued by biologists who devote their days to patrolling the forests and monitoring wildlife, these cubs are given a fragile lifeline. What happens next is nothing short of extraordinary. A family's mission. Hidden away in a remote village, far from the noise of modern life, lives a family unlike any other. They are not just scientists, they are guardians of the forgotten. For decades, they have created a sanctuary where the cries of orphaned cubs are met not with abandonment, but with care. Their home has been reshaped into a haven. Wooden barns, open clearings, and secluded enclosures provide safety without confinement. The cubs are fed with formulas designed to mimic the nourishment of their mother's milk. They are monitored with patience, their every movement observed to ensure they are growing strong. Yet, this mission is not about domestication. The biologists understand that true salvation means one thing: freedom. Every decision, from the way the cubs are handled to the way food is provided, is guided by a single rule: prepare them for the wild. Human contact is minimized, voices are hushed, and the young bears are encouraged to rely on their instincts. This delicate balance between care and distance defines the family's work. Growing up in the shadows of the taiga. For the cubs, survival begins with trust. Trust in the hands that feed them, even though those hands must remain almost invisible. Days are filled with cautious exploration. The young bears learn to dig in the soil, to claw at tree trunks, and to search for berries hidden beneath leaves. Seasons pass, each one shaping the cubs differently. In spring, they wrestle with each other, building strength and testing instincts. In summer, they follow trails of insects and learn to fish in shallow streams. Autumn brings the urgent need to fatten, preparing for the long winter. And in winter, they huddle together, finding warmth in their own bodies, practicing the ancient rhythm of hibernation. The biologists watch, never interfering too much, always allowing the cubs to discover the knowledge buried deep in their bloodline. The wild is their destiny, and the family's role is simply to guide them back to it. The harsh trials of nature. Life in the taiga is never easy. For the young cubs, every lesson is underscored by danger. A misstep in the forest can mean an encounter with wolves or the silent stalk of a lynx. Rivers swell with spring floods, threatening to sweep away the unwary. The bitter cold of winter freezes even the strongest, and food becomes scarce. The biologists must also endure these trials. Storms batter their village, supplies run short, and the isolation weighs heavily on their hearts. At times, the struggle feels overwhelming. Each cub represents a battle against time and against forces much larger than themselves. Some do not survive, despite the family's best efforts, and their loss is felt deeply. But those who endure become symbols of resilience. Every cub that makes it through a season carries the hope of its kind. Every survival is a victory against extinction. Preparing for the return. When the cubs reach maturity, the most crucial phase begins: reintroduction. This is the true test of the family's work. Releasing a bear back into the wild is not as simple as opening a gate. It requires careful preparation, an understanding of territory, and the knowledge that not every bear will succeed. The cubs are taken deep into the forest, to places untouched by roads or villages. There, they are released gradually, monitored from afar. The biologists observe their movements through tracking collars, ensuring they adapt without interference. The goal is independence, to see them hunt, forage, and survive entirely on their own. It is a bittersweet moment. The bond between caretaker and cub, built silently over months or years, must be severed. The biologists do not seek gratitude, only the knowledge that these bears have a chance to live the life they were meant to. A battle against extinction. Beyond the immediate struggle lies a greater war, the preservation of the species itself. Brown bears once roamed vast territories across Eurasia, but their numbers have been steadily declining. Trophy hunting, habitat loss, and climate change converge to threaten their existence. The family's mission, while small in scale, carries profound importance. Every cub saved is more than an individual life, it is a step toward protecting an entire population. It is a statement against the forces that drive these animals toward oblivion. This work inspires others. Across regions, more conservationists, activists, and communities are beginning to recognize the urgency of protecting the taiga's guardians. The story of the orphaned cubs becomes a call to action, reminding humanity of its responsibility toward the natural world. The human cost of dedication. To dedicate one's life to such a cause is not without sacrifice. The family of biologists has given up comforts, careers, and often their own stability for the sake of the bears. Their village is remote, their resources limited, and their lives bound to the rhythm of the animals they protect. There are moments of joy, the first time a cub learns to fish, the sight of young bears playing in the snow, the triumphant return of one to the wild. But there are also nights of grief, when illness or weakness claims a life. The emotional toll is heavy, yet they continue, driven by an unshakable belief in their mission. Their fight is not just for the bears. It is for the balance of the forest, for the dignity of life itself, and for the generations who may one day walk through the taiga and still hear the roar of brown bears echoing in the distance. A future for the wild. The work of this family demonstrates that even in the face of overwhelming odds, change is possible. Their sanctuary stands as proof that compassion can counter cruelty, and that resilience can challenge destruction. Each cub that returns to the taiga carries with it the legacy of those who refused to let despair win. They are not simply survivors, they are the living embodiment of hope. In their strength, the destiny of the brown bear may yet be rewritten. The taiga remains vast and perilous, but within its silence, there is now a renewed heartbeat. The orphaned cubs, once abandoned, now stride through the forest with power in their limbs and freedom in their souls. Conclusion. The eternal bond. In the heart of the Russian wilderness, where snow blankets the earth and rivers sing through the trees, the story continues. Bears are still hunted, cubs still orphaned, and the challenges remain immense. But thanks to the tireless devotion of a few, the future is not written in despair. The family of biologists, working in their isolated village, have shown that even the smallest hands can shift the course of fate. Their struggle is ongoing, their journey endless, but their impact undeniable. They have given life where there was only death, and hope where there was only silence. And as the cubs they raise return to the taiga, their paws pressing into the ancient soil of their ancestors, they remind us of one eternal truth. That wild nature, though fragile, can be saved, if only there are those willing to fight for it.